As you know, it's Labor Day. Communities throughout Chicago are celebrating, but few put on as big of a show as they do in Pullman. That's where we find the Stream's Jamaica Ponder.
Thank you, Audrina. We are still out here on the National Historic Pullman site, and I have Janice with me. Hello, Janice. Thank you so much for agreeing to speak with me. You caught my attention as soon as we got on site today because Janice is fully dressed in a traditional historical garb of the time of the Pullman porters. Is that right?
Correct. An 1896 walking suit is probably how I would call it.
And first, before we get into the whole history of it, I would love to hear about exactly what you are wearing, because this in and of itself is a piece of history, I believe.
It's a pattern that's actually produced, by a historic pattern company, and I purchased it and then made my outfit. So it's an 1896 walking suit.
Amazing. And you said that last year you also came dressed up as well.
Correct. And I worked at the Hotel Florence on the veranda that day.
And what were you doing?
Just talking to people about Pullman history, which is my favorite history.
And what about Pullman history it makes you so passionate about it? Why are you so invested?
It's all about the people. There's so many stories about the people and so many different angles to Pullman history. And it's a part of Chicago that's been ignored for so many years. When I first started researching Pullman about 30 years ago, there was nothing much published on it at all. So this has been my life challenge, I guess, to get more Pullman history published.
And it seems to be working because there are a lot of people out here today.
Right, and there are a lot of different stories with that history.
And something that you said to me when we were talking before we hopped on camera was that Pullman history recently became popular. Is that something that you've noticed? Could you talk a little bit about that?
The city of Chicago just sort of neglected the South Side for many years, and Pullman was part of the South Side. And the people who lived here passionately loved the history and kept doing their house tours and just creating a historic neighborhood and keeping it alive to some degree. But you didn't have the support that they have now. What's happened here has been amazing, amazing.
Absolutely. And I know that you have a couple of cool anecdotal stories that I had never heard before talking to you today. And I want to make sure that our viewers get to hear it as well, because I think it paints a clearer picture of exactly what life was like for these porters as they were coming into work from far off where they lived. They didn't live in the town. So could you just tell us your little stories, because they're really great.
Okay. The town of Pullman had wooden sidewalks, and the workers, when they would be marching to work, you would hear their boots hitting the sidewalk. So it was a huge noise in the town as they went through the gates. And then the people from Pullman, because many people worked for Pullman who lived in Roseland, and they would be coming down the wooden sidewalk that was built by the Pullman Company so that they could come down without sloshing through the mud, and they'd be on the wooden sidewalk. So there would be wooden sidewalk steps going that way, and there was just a mass of people all arriving at the same time. It was interesting.
And another part of their arrival included the trains, of course, but not necessarily riding in the trains. Can you tell us about that?
That was interesting. When I read that in the newspaper, it was very interesting. The tracks, because of Lake Vista, the tracks were at ground level, at Cottage Grove level, and they had been raised after Lake Vista was eliminated. But the train would come in at ground level, and the men would climb off the train. And some men would climb off from the passenger cars, and some men would climb off from the top of the passenger cars because they didn't want to pay the fare. And as the conductor would try to collect the fare, he'd be following them through a car, up on the roof, waiting for them to come down at the next car, and they just keep doing that for the 20-minute ride from wherever they got on.
And by the time they made it to Pullman, sometimes they were still up on the roof.
Yes.
And can you tell us, how much was that fare they were trying to avoid?
10 cents.
10 cents.
Yeah, well, that was quite a lot of money at that time. There was a lot of, I don't even know what to say, a lot of complaints about the fact that the fare needed to be lowered because it was too much for them to pay.
And you might know this, how much on average were these Pullman porters bringing home?
They were workers, not porters.
Pardon.
Yeah, that's
How much
okay.
were the workers bringing home?
You know, I don't honestly know.
Okay.
I don't have that figure in my head. I'm sorry. I can't tell you that one.
You have already shared so much, so thank you.
Thank you.
And
Pleasure.
it has been a pleasure. Just when I saw you, I was like, that is someone that we need to pick her brain, because I figured you might have some cool stories. So I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Of course, of course.
It was my pleasure.
All right, so we're now going to go over to the Illinois Labor Historical Society, and they have a table right over here. Hello! I'm ready to come and chat with you all because I know that you have a lot going on at your table today, but I wanted to give you a chance to introduce yourself first.
I'm Ed Green. I'm the secretary of the ILHS.
Hi, I'm Julia Berkowitz. I'm a board member for the Illinois Labor History Society.
Awesome, and you as well, sir. I see you're in a shirt.
Hi, I'm president of the Illinois Labor History Society. My name's Larry Spivak.
Awesome. Well, hello, everyone. I'm glad we have so many of you here to talk to us today. What I really want to hear is, what do you guys have to offer that our viewers might not know about? If they want to come out and they want to learn a little bit more about Illinois labor history, what can they come and find, not only at your table, at a website, at a building? What is there that we need to know about?
Well, our organization tells the story of workers and workers' struggle primarily in the Illinois region. We began in 1969 to try to tell the story more accurately that was poorly told about the Haymarket Affair, the Haymarket tragedy. And after that, we became the deed holder of the world's most sacred labor site, the Haymarket Martyrs Monument in Forest Park. And since then have grown to help preserve labor history sites around the state and to continue to tell the story, including here in Pullman. So we could talk about, because Chicago and Illinois together are really ground zero for the labor movement in so many ways. We talk about the Memorial Day massacre of the steelworkers in 1937, certainly the Pullman Porters story, the story of Pullman, the story of the stockyards. These are so fundamental to what America is. And unfortunately, the labor story is often left out, the story of workers. And so we're so happy to be here that the National Park includes us as a partner to be able to continue to help the public understand better that workers create all wealth.
Absolutely, and it's so relevant. You know, it's never, despite the fact that it does say history, it's every single day we're watching the labor movement develop and change and grow and become stronger. So I think that is really amazing that people are able to come and learn a little bit more about what happened before we got to where we are today. And is there anything about any programming or events that you guys had that we should make sure that our viewers are aware of?
Right, so one of the things that I was going to tell Larry to tell you, we have a 2-minute daily podcast called Labor History in 2. It's a joint partnership that we did for 3 years with the Rick Smith Show, and you can find that on the Podbean app and also at Labor History in 2 website, as well as our own website, which is illinoislaborhistory.org. We also have books, we do programming, we do tours on demand. So, you know, we do, if people, with one person, if 3 people, if 200 people want to tour the sites around Chicago, we're happy to do tours at your discretion to teach and to tell people more about the labor history of the city and of the state. We do programming around town at people's request, all sorts of things. So you just have to look us up and call us and make a request.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much. I'm sure somebody saw that, and we'll definitely be hitting you all up because this is all so interesting. Thanks.
About to start our 2 o'clock tour.
Oh, and they are about to start their 2 o'clock tour, so I will let you all go. Thanks so much. All right, well, there is a ton going on out here today. We have a lot of different organizations, the Pullman National Monument, Park Service, and it's really great because it's an opportunity for people to learn about how their labor struggles are relevant today and how the labor struggles of the past tie into everything that's happening right now. So I'm Jamaica Ponder for CBS News Chicago at the Labor Day National Pullman Monument Celebration. Thanks so much for tuning in.